Hello Squad fam. Before you watch this video, it is I, Cherish from editing. And I just have to let you guys know this video is supposed to come out in September of 2024. Now, did I procrastinate and sit on it until January of 2025? Yes, I did. Happy New Year, everyone. But I just want to let you know that I might reference things that are not happening now. And the mic also sounds kind of funny at the beginning. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy New Year! Me. What is up, Squad fam? It's your girl Cherish, and today I am outside, and I have a microphone. And I have a microphone because I'm outside. Today I am here in the beautiful Forks, Washington, where I live. I'm wearing a shirt that says Forks, Washington, and this is a beautiful view of the mountains and a pile of dirt. But just don't pay attention to that. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about my Twilight story because I don't think I've ever told it on the channel. There's a child walking with a football uniform and a helmet in his hand. Anyway, I've never talked about it on the channel, I don't think. I've talked a little bit about like my Midnight Sun song from like a long time ago. That was back in 2020. Merch, all kinds of random things. But today I thought I would talk about like my whole Twilight journey and how I ended up moving to Forks, Washington. So let's get into it. So it all started in 2009 when I was 11 years old. I was going on 12. All of my besties in 6th grade were super obsessed with Twilight, and I was like, what is this? This sounds dumb. I don't want to read it. I was not into it. I was not interested at all. And then they were like, come on, you gotta read it. And I was like, no. And I didn't. And then I went to a thing with my mom, and it was like a teacher conference kind of thing, or teacher convention. Not a convention, but anyway, she had to be with a bunch of teachers, and I was in a room by myself waiting for her to get through all the teacher stuff. And so she left me there. I was on my phone, bad signal in the school, and then this teacher was like, hey, do you like reading? And I was like, yeah, I love reading. I had read Narnia. I had read all of them. I read Prince Caspian. I had read the entire series of Unfortunate Events, Nancy Drew stuff when I was in elementary school. And then I was like, sure, I love reading. I'll take whatever book you have. And she had Twilight. And I was like, God, I gotta read about these dumb, sparkly vampires that play baseball. And she was like, just make sure you give it back to me when you're done. And I was like, lady, I'm not gonna have trouble giving you your book back when I'm done. Like, I don't even want to read this book. But I was like, fine. I was nice. I didn't say any of that. And so then I opened it and I was like, fine, I'll just read this. I realized as soon as I opened this book and started reading it that I had been bamboozled. I did not think I was gonna like it, and then I literally was obsessed with it. So then I texted my aunt, and the crows are crowing. Anyway, I texted my aunt, and I was like, hey, have you heard of these Twilight books? And she was like, yeah, I have them all. I was like, can I borrow them? Because I did have to give that book back to that lady, and I needed to finish the story. I read the entire series in like 3 days, I think. And I was just like, this is my entire life. This is my entire personality. It was right before my 12th birthday, and my aunt gifted me a set of the books, and I still have them to this day. So then I become like a super huge Twilight fan. My aunt takes me to the midnight showings from New Moon on because Twilight had already come out. So I read the books, I watched the first movie, and then we went to the midnight showings of the rest of them. When Eclipse came out in 2010, the summer of 2010, I was like, literally, this is for me. They did this for my birthday because it came out June 30th, and my birthday is June 21st. And so I was like, this is literally for me. And then Eclipse was like my favorite, but I think now right now in this moment, I'm torn between New Moon and Breaking Dawn Part 1. Those are always like, I'm going back and forth. I'm kind of feeling New Moon right now because our festival this year is New Moon themed. Breaking Dawn Part 1, the drama. When he's like, you've given me no choice. I say that to everyone. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, I was going through middle school with my friends. We had like formed a coven. It's hilarious. And then high school, nobody was really a Twilight fan anymore because Breaking On Part 2 came out in November of 2012, which was the beginning of my sophomore year of high school, or the first semester of sophomore year. So by the time that was done, like everyone was pretty much over Twilight. And so I kind of just kept to myself. I would read my fan fictions, which I was reading so much fan fiction, and I was like, addicted to fan fiction, addicted to reading, because I didn't have Wi-Fi, internet on my phone. I only had calls and texts and all that kind of stuff. Back in the day when it wasn't just everything all-inclusive, I would have to load a chapter on my browser at home, and I would just read it throughout the day because the browser wouldn't like reset because I didn't have internet. And so I would just like be reading it throughout the day, and once I finished that chapter, I'd have to wait until I got home because I couldn't have my phone out at school. Anyway, this is all beside the point. I was a closet Twilight fan. And then Instagram kind of became a thing around that time as well. So then I started finding like other Twilight pages, And I was like, oh my god, I would look at people's like edits that they would make and their stories, and I just was obsessed with everything. So that was back when Instagram was only pictures too. Oh my gosh, it's like so many things. I was not involved in the Instagram community at this point, but I was just, following along, following people, meeting people who would eventually become my friends, but I didn't know at the time because I wasn't reaching out or anything. Then the Hunger Games was also a really big deal, so that kind of took the forefront of my public fangirl persona. I was like a Hunger Games girly, and people knew me as the Twilight girl too, but I was just a little bit more quiet about it because I knew everyone was big haters. So then I graduated high school, and Twilight was still very important to me, but I was just kind of lurking in the Twilight fandom, still kind of thinking that I was the only one. Like in America, I was like, no one likes Twilight besides me. But then college, I started getting a little bit more involved in the Instagram community. I started like interacting with people more. I was sharing Twilight memes to my story like constantly, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to be unapologetically Twilight girl. And so I did, and I made some really great friends. I'm not friends with all of them now. I'm not friends with some of the people that I met in those early days, but I wish them well. I hope they're doing well and all that kind of stuff. There was a little bit of drama, but we're not getting into that today. It was 2018, I think, when I first started messaging people that I was like, this one girl who is my friend now to this day. She was from Tennessee, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to school in Tennessee. Whatever, that's so crazy. The point of that is I started getting more involved in the Instagram community. Eventually, my senior year of college, it was my last semester of senior year. I did three senior year semesters. Fall of 2019, I made or was it fall of 2018? No, I think it was fall of 2019. Yeah, fall of 2019, I made my Twilight account, my Twilight Instagram, which is still up, and I use it sporadically, mostly to just comment on fandom things and share my posts and whatever for my main account, but lovely people over there. I made my Twilight Instagram, and I only had a few 100 followers, maybe even less than that. I would post like Twilight edits. I was writing a fan fiction. It was a whole thing. It was really fun, and it was a really special time. I was going live a lot, not in 2019, but with the account eventually. But graduated December 2019. Woohoo. Done with college, done with school. College was a struggle for me. School in general. I loved learning. I still do love learning, but school, I'm just grateful I finished, okay? The sun's poking out. I'm gonna start sparkling in the sun. But then, 2020, I was going to get my teaching certificate in Texas, and then COVID. COVID hit. COVID happened. I was subbing at schools, and it just stopped, and I had no source of income. I was living with my parents, thankfully, so I wasn't like destitute. But that's when I really was online. I mean, just like everyone else, we were all online constantly, and the community really, really was growing. Twilight was put on Netflix, I think, at that point, so everyone was streaming it. The Twilight Renaissance was happening. I was like, there was never a Twilight Renaissance for me. I've been here. So the big Twilight Renaissance of 2020 happened. Stephanie Meyer announced Midnight Sun. It was a huge deal. Everyone was super excited. I was super excited. All my besties were super excited. And then, hello, I was watching a bunch of live streams. I was going live a lot, playing music, singing Twilight covers. I hadn't written any Twilight songs at this point. And then July of 2020, my friends at Remember Twilight podcast, which if you're looking for a Twilight podcast to listen to, you should listen to them. It has since ended. But they went chapter by chapter through the entire series. It's really great. They've interviewed a lot of people. I've been interviewed on there. Stephanie Meyer, the author, has been interviewed. Anyway, Remember Twilight podcast. Go listen to them. I'll link it down below. They would do a weekly live stream, a Sunday live stream, and one Sunday I was like, hey, I was inspired by something you said about Midnight Sun, and I want to share this little chorus that I wrote. And it was the chorus to Silence, my first single I ever released. And everyone was crying and saying that it was so great, and I was just like, please stop, shush, thank you. And everyone really encouraged me to continue writing the song. So I stayed up most of the night, finished the song the next day, and then I shared it with my followers. Again, I only had a couple hundred followers, maybe 300 at the most. And so I shared it, and I left because I had to go somewhere with my parents, and I came back to my Instagram, and people were sharing the video like crazy, tagging Stephanie Meyer's Instagram account like crazy, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm getting people who care about my music. That's really sweet. And then I got a DM from at Fickle Fish Films, which is Stephanie Meyer's production company and her like Instagram. And it was from her team saying, Stephanie Meyer has heard your song. Stephanie Meyer had heard my song. Stephanie Meyer loved it and wanted to put it on her website. And then that's when I died. I fell to the ground. Probably. It was so crazy. And even now, thinking about it, like, that is probably one of the coolest things that will ever happen to me in my life, is the author of my favorite series, pretty much my favorite series of all time, is recognizing my music and is saying that it's good enough and fits her story so well that she wants to put it on her website. Like, that is crazy. So that happened. Everyone was like, please put this on Spotify, put it everywhere. I just put it on SoundCloud because I didn't really believe that it was the best quality version of the song that I would ever put out. And lo and behold, it's the version that is still out and just hit 50,000 streams this week. That's amazing. It's insane. I'm so grateful. I love every single person who has ever streamed Silence. Thank you so much. So it goes on her website a couple weeks later. I had released it on Spotify. The recorded version I put on SoundCloud, I couldn't do it any better. I kept trying and trying, and I was like, no, this is like literally good enough. So I put it out. People were listening to it, sharing it. It was so sweet. Everybody encouraged me to write another song. That's when I wrote Always Be You, which is my Bella Swan. It's like kind of the Silence companion song. And then I continued writing more and more Twilight music. I was like, I gotta write one for like Eclipse. I gotta write a New Moon song. Like, we already have a Breaking Dawn song. We have 1,000 Years. Like, I don't need to write another Edward and Bella wedding song. And so I wrote basically an entire Twilight album. And then in the fall, there was the virtual Twilight Festival, which I had no idea there was even a Twilight Festival until like 2019 or 2020. And when I found that out, I was like, whoa, there's a Twilight Festival. That's amazing. And so there was a virtual event. I attended a lot of those things and met a lot of really cool people through that as well. And then decided I would have my own little concert, my first concert of me performing original music for people. And I shared it on January 1st of 2021. It was a live Zoom concert, as most people were doing at the time. And it was really cool. And I'm so grateful. If anyone was there for that, thank you so much. That was literally such a blast. Like, such a I can't even describe. It was just so fun, and it was so amazing. I had my brother and our friend Marcus in my little band. My parents and my brother sang backup for me for Silence. Like, it was a blast. So 2021, my friend Nani, love you Nani, she texted me again, another like fandom person I'd never met in person, another fandom friend, and she was like, hey, I booked the Swan House. Everybody else who was going with me bailed. Do you want to come? And I was like, at first I was a little scared because I was like, I'm meeting a stranger from the internet, but she was like, all you have to do is get here. It's already paid for. So I was like, I'm going to the Swan House, I guess, for a weekend in February. And so I went. I got to see so many like Twilight sites. I got to see filming locations. Then she was like, hey, do you want to go to Forks? And I was like, oh my gosh. Because the Swan House is in St. Helens. Not close to Forks. It's in St. Helens, Oregon. So Forks is the tippy top of Washington. I think it was going to take us like 3.5, 4 hours to get there. And so I was like, well, I mean, if you want to go, I'll go. So we literally drove 3.5, 4 hours to get to Forks, grabbed a bite to eat from Sully's, which is a restaurant here, and we got it to go, and we saw the treaty line, and I was just like, oh my gosh, because my Instagram is at Forever Jumping the TL, which stands for Treaty Line, because I always was like, I don't know if I want to be a vampire or a werewolf. Like, I was Team Switzerland for a really long time. Very Team Edward now, if anyone's wondering. Not a bug flying by me. I just smell so sweet. Anyway, so I saw the Treaty Line. It was like my most liked post on my Forever Jumping the TL account. So we went back to the Swan House. I slept in Bella's room. Edward watched me sleep. There's a cardboard cutout in there. It was a blast. That experience like solidified for me like Pacific Northwest is fantastic. I want to come back here as many times as possible. I want to literally live there. And then a month later, maybe 2 months later, a few weeks, I can't even remember the timeline, but my friend Samantha Rose Baldwin, future award-winning actress Samantha Rose Baldwin, who portrays Bella Swan for the Olympic Coven. At the time, was she portraying Bella at the time? I think she had filled in for Bella the year before at the festival. We had been friends, online friends for a while, and she was like, hey, I'm gonna move to Forks for like 9 months. Do you want to come? And I was like, I'm a teacher, so I cannot get out of my job, because I was teaching elementary at the time as well. I was like, I can't get out of my job during this school year, but I can come in the summer. So I came for 1 month in the summer of 2021, came at the end of June, stayed till the end of July pretty much. And that was a whole debacle in itself, because I flew, not all my stuff got here. I had minimal things. We had to go shopping when I got here because Anyway, so I get here. We're both not murderers, and we both live to tell the tale of meeting each other. And I came and became friends with the people who own the Book Accurate Cullen House, the Military Inn, right here in Forks, Washington. I would play piano for breakfast while Samantha worked breakfast doing dishes and things like that. And Mary Beth and Trent, who are the owners, are literally angels, some of my best friends in this whole entire world. We just really hit it off. We also trauma bonded that summer. There was an event that happened. Those 4 weeks felt like 4 months. I still don't believe that that was only a month of my life that I spent here that summer. It felt like forever. Anyway, it was amazing. Love them. We're all best friends. I'm literally sitting in their yard to film this video. So I leave Forks. I'm sobbing, crying. And I'm like, I want to live in Forks so bad. I want to live in Forks so bad. And then, oh my gosh, wait. I forgot. Mini rewind to November of 2020. My bestie Emily from Remember Twilight podcast, my bestie Mariah. Who else was there? Somebody who we will not name. Was Riley there? There was a bunch of us. And we took a trip to Utah in November, and that was the first time I met Twilight people in real life. Anyway, back to the point. I leave Forks, summer 21, and I'm devastated. I'm crying. I literally, still to this day, whenever I'm leaving Forks, I will sit in the kitchen of the Military Inn and just cry, saying bye to Mary Beth, because I don't. It's just tradition at this point. So I come back for the festival in September. It's my first FTF. All the besties come. I have a huge group chat of besties. I have a huge group of friends that we all have. We share a group chat, but we're all friends through Twilight TikTok, all kinds of things, which is a whole other part of the story that I forgot to mention, but it just feels like I've known all these people forever. So we come to FTF, we have a blast. We're partying it up. We're dancing with the Cullens, with the Volturi, the cosplayers who come and portray them. It's like Disney World. You get to meet your favorite Disney princess. In Forks, you get to meet your favorite Cullen. You get to meet your favorite Volturi. It's amazing. So connecting with all these Twilight people that I had met through the internet, and now we're like, and we sing 1,000 Years on the last day. It's so beautiful and magical. And then after that, again, sobbing because I'm leaving Forks, and it was such a wonderful experience. I'm working at a high school with my mom and my old teacher who became my coworker and a really good friend. And so we're sitting at lunch one day, and Mary Beth texts me. She's like, I want to do something for Halloween. Will you come back? And I was like, well, what if we did something for Halloween? And she was like, you could perform. And that's how we could justify. And I was like, you're right. So, Killer Tree was born. Killer Tree Inn is an event that happens at the Military Inn at Halloween time. And so this year is going to be our 4th year doing it. It's going to be such a blast. Anyway, but I came back for Halloween. So, you got that. I came for one 30-minute period February, a month in the summer, a weekend in September, and then I come back again for a weekend in October for Halloween. So that is three full visits to Forks in the year of 2021. 2022 comes. I'm like, hey, I would like to go back to Forks, because during the summer I worked at the Twilight Museum, I worked at the Visitor Center, and they were like, yes, come back and work in the summer. The summer is really busy in Forks, if you can believe that. The national park is thriving, everyone's off school, so the Twilight trips are happening. It's a really big thing here. So summer 2022, I'm like, I'm going to go for 2 months this time. I went for June and July. I brought my friend Mariah with me. We road tripped this time. Last time I flew, this time I drove. First time driving up to Forks. It was phenomenal. I can't wait to do it. Well, I did it again. But anyway, I can't wait to do another road trip that long. So we get to Forks. We live in Mary Beth and Trent's laundry room for 2 months, which was an experience for everyone. But I worked at the Twilight Museum, worked at the Visitor Center. We got COVID. That was my first time getting COVID. Again, once we got to the end of the trip, I was devastated. I wanted to cry. I also spent time with our other friends who were here at the time. They were living in a little double-wide trailer that was right next to the inn. So we were all just really bonding. Summer of Forks. It was a blast. I leave back to Texas, and then I come back again for the festival. So again, now we've had summer, festival. I came back again for Halloween. I came back again for New Year's Eve. And then we had started a new event in the spring called Equinox, and so I came again for Equinox. 5 times, 10 months, 5 times in 10 months. And after Equinox, I said, I think I have spent so much money going to Forks that I should just move. So what did I do? I packed up my stuff. I talked to everybody. I was like, I'm gonna move to Forks. Everyone was like, you're crazy. And I was like, I'm not crazy, because summer before I had talked to a superintendent of the school district here, and I was like, hey, are you hiring a music teacher? And they were like, no. but ask me again next year. And so it just so happened that there was a position that opened up for a music teacher. And so I did that for a year. It was only going to be for a year. And so I did that. So then I was living in Forks for the festival, for Halloween, for New Year's, for the Equinox event, and then another summer rolled around. Living in Forks has been such a dream come true. I think about it so often, how crazy, like insane it would be to tell little baby 11-year-old Cherish, hey, remember that series that you just devoured in 3 days? That's going to become your job. That's going to be where you live. That's going to be what you get to talk about all day, every day to people who come in to visit. It's actually probably the best thing I've ever done. And I know I can't live here forever. I have goals and aspirations with a music career and all kinds of other stuff. But this was probably the best thing I've done. I got my bestie to move up here with me. I dragged her up here. And I mean, just my best friends live here. My support system that I keep in contact with, aside from my family and aside from my group chat of friends that are like all spread around the world, like this is the place where a lot of people that I love are located. And so being here around them all the time is really special. And I feel really lucky, really grateful, really blessed to live this life that I live. So Twilight is really cool. And I know some people think it's lame, but I think it's really cool. And it has changed my life for the better, because if it weren't for Twilight, I wouldn't have launched an independent music career. I wouldn't be sitting here in Forks, Washington. Look at that view. It's insane, the life that I live. And I've had so many cool opportunities to perform, to meet people, to interact with other creatives, to now find my next favorite series, which happens to be written by one of my best friends. It's incredible. All that to say, I am so excited for the new Twilight show that is going to be coming out on Netflix. I don't know when, but it's based on Midnight Sun. And I am really hoping that if you watched this far into the video, that you are someone who will please tag Netflix. I mean, you can't tag them in a YouTube video, maybe. But send it to Netflix and let them know that I already have a song written about Midnight Sun, so if they wanted a new one, or if they wanted to use it for the show, like, I wouldn't be opposed. I just really want to be involved in this project, as I'm sure so many Twilight fans do, but especially being a musician and someone who's specialized in fandom music, in Twilight music, like, it would just be a dream come true. It would be a dream come true. It would be so amazing, and it would be so fun. So anyway, that is pretty much my entire Twilight story, and it's still going because I still work at the Visitor Center, I still work at the Twilight Museum. The Twilight Festival is next weekend, and I'm just so thrilled to be a part of this cute little community. This little community of fandom girlies who never let the haters get them down. Like, that's the thing about Twilight. To be a Twilight fan is to be so resilient, because for so long people just hated on Twilight for no reason, just because it was marketed for teen girls and something that was for women to enjoy, written by a woman for women. I mean, Twilight is for anybody, but I mean, that was the target audience. And women have all the power. Teen girls have so much more power than they probably even realize. And I'm just so glad that so many people fought that and stayed strong through that and are in my life today. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and listening to me yak about Twilight and my life and what Twilight has done. I can't believe I talked for this long. I can't, like, my voice is like, excuse me. But if you guys enjoyed this and you want to hear more about my Twilight journey or anything else, please leave a question below in the comments. Find me on Instagram, on TikTok, talking about my Twilight life and a little bit of what it's like to be a Twilight Museum tour guide, whatever the term is. And please make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, share it with a friend, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Peepaw's home. Why did I laugh like that? Also, I can't see out here because it's so bright. Hello? He's bringing mama food. No, it's okay. I gotta go home and cook for Darian after I finish this. What is that? Longhouse? We just had that the other day. Kitty, stay your butt inside. Anyway.